From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Thursday, March 11th, 2021, and it's Mornings LALATE with big financial news breaking minutes ago. The Thursday jobless numbers are in. How is the economy performing this last week? Your $1,400 third stimulus check was passed by the House yesterday. It will be signed by the President this Friday. But can you get over $5,000 in other money in the fourth stimulus package? Elsewhere, nearly a dozen states have dropped all COVID restrictions. Who are they, and is it too soon? Fourth stimulus will be arriving as COVID numbers are plateauing. What's Wall Street's reaction? Meantime, the 10-year Treasury note is calm at 1.5% on Thursday. NASDAQ and Big Tech are up. From Santa Monica to across the land, from the West Coast to the East Coast, I have all the great financial news for you this Thursday from the Net's leading financial news show, starting right now. The Thursday jobless numbers are in, and they beat Wall Street's estimate. Meantime, no masks are being mandated across other states. Nearly a dozen states have dropped all restrictions. And then history numbers are out. But what is plateauing COVID-19 cases saying? And is there a concern about delayed unemployment? Meantime, the 10-year Treasury note has plateaued, thank goodness. And I have big details for you about your fourth stimulus check. Good morning. It's a Thursday morning. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. I'm here. You're here. And congratulations, you're getting a $1,400 stimulus check. In fact, you're getting more than $1,400, even if you're a single individual. Viewers, this channel will qualify for about $5,000 at least under the third stimulus check package. I'll have all those details for you shortly. But if you have not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Also become a member. Member link is in the top of the chat and also below it. And if you've also not liked this video, make sure you hit that like button as well. The new jobless numbers are out, and they were stable. The jobless numbers came in at 712, below Wall Street's estimate of 725. We've stayed above 700,000 new jobless claims for many weeks. Of course, we were at 300,000 jobless claims when the pandemic hit about a year ago this week. So we're still far from normality in the jobless numbers released every morning on Thursday each week. Meantime, we saw last week the job creation numbers, which were at 379,000. We need 8 million jobs created in this economy to be back to normal. That would mean 500,000 a month would take 16 months. But the great news is that your $1,400 third stimulus check has passed the House, passed the Senate, and is off to the President to sign on Thursday. You're getting a $1,400 stimulus check if you're an individual, if you're a married couple, if you're a child, and if you are the dependent on someone else's tax return, they will get your $1,400 stimulus check. You will need a Social Security number to have to get a stimulus check. And already social media is heating up about the stimulus check, calling it the stimmy check. As one person said, if you're calling it a stimmy, you're buying tennis shoes with the check. I have all the details in this video about the money you're getting in the third stimulus package. Children, let's get to some of them right now. Children 5 to newborn will get $5,000, paid the following way. A $1,400 stimulus check, which will come with yours, and then they'll get $300 a month starting in the month of July for $3,600. If you have a child 17 to 6, they will get a $4,400 stimulus. First, $1,400 with yours, and then $250 a month for 12 months. The total household family for stimulus checks of $1,400 is 4. But that's different from the $3,600 and the $3,000 stimulus check, which will be paid by IRS to you on monthly installments starting in the month of July. You do not have to be employed or unemployed. The income qualifications for that child's check is the same as the stimulus check. If you make less than $75,000 individual or $150,000, you get that check for the child. They just need to know the child exists. The most obvious way to alert the IRS that the child exists is your most recent tax return. But what else is in that third stimulus package? Well, there is $1,700 for financial aid for college students, plus a $1,400 stimulus check. There's $1,502 for hazard pay if you worked during the pandemic and made less than $25,000, plus a $1,400 stimulus check. There is child care tax credit, which I'll get to shortly. There is money for rent and mortgage payments, which I'll get to shortly. And there's a $5,000 stimulus check if you're a sole practitioner with less than 10 employees or one that had a downturn of your business during the economy. I'll have more about that in a second. But Wall Street is reacting to the financial news across the land this morning. And what did that financial news show? 712,000 jobs. So we're far from rebounding. Meantime, new mask mandates have been dropped. No mask and no COVID restrictions are currently in place anymore. A series of states have announced that they have dropped all COVID restrictions. Maryland, Texas, Mississippi, Connecticut, Arizona, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Ironically, Arizona was the very first state to ask for LWA assistance when it was announced in 2020, and they're first out the door to end COVID restrictions. Next up could be Iowa, North Dakota, and Montana, along with Wyoming. Reaction is already setting in about lifting these restrictions. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, who is head of the Centers for Disease Prevention, CDC, said there's so much critical riding on the next 2 months. How quickly we vaccine versus another surge really happens on March and April. There's concerns that lifting restrictions too early may actually cause a surge, as we still have yet to get the physical stimulus check in our hands. Meantime, Dr. Fauci responded to the concern of where we currently are, saying that we are plateauing at 600 to 70,000 COVID cases a day. That means we're currently high and plateauing. We're not improving. Elsewhere, there's concerns about delayed unemployment payments that could happen. The bill will be signed into law on Friday. The question is, will unemployment numbers be delayed? But across the land, the excitement's brewing as your $1,400 third stimulus check is getting signed into law. On Thursday night, the president will address the country in a press conference, which I'll detail at the top of the hour. That press conference will explain to the American people what is in the actual stimulus package, so that Americans will be able to apply quickly. But what about this jobless number? The drop in jobless claims is another win for the week, says Mike Lowengrant, Managing Director of Investment Strategies at E-Trade. Combined with stimulus relief in sight, well, what does that mean? And a muted CPI means that there's a pretty optimistic picture painted at the moment. The 10-year Treasury note, which is very important, remains stable at 1.51%, down from 1.6 a week ago. The NASDAQ and the utilities are doing really well this morning. The NASDAQ is up about 2%. The Dow is up substantially as well. The numbers right at the very moment are the following. Let me tell you where we are on our numbers. Currently, Wall Street has been wondering how quickly this stimulus could impact this economy. But as we start the new day, the numbers are the following. Currently, the Dow is up exactly 320. NASDAQ is up 314, which is huge. It's almost 2.4%. At one point, the S&P jumped almost 1%. The Dow earlier today was even higher. So what else is in this third stimulus check package? Let's get to the details right now. In addition to the $1,400 stimulus check, you're going to get a lot of other great money. And that money is the following. COBRA benefits will be cheaper. All COBRA paying premiums from April 1st to September 30th are suspended. This is really great news. Premiums for those plans will cost no more than 8.5% of your adjusted modified gross income. Also really great news. Elsewhere, a child tax credit is in place. That child tax credit works as the following. That child tax credit will be paid according to the following permutation. It will be currently at the following numbers. Child tax credit, $4,000 for one child and $8,000 for two or more children. It's 50% of your child care tax credit, which is deductible up to age 13. Really great news across the land. And what else is happening with this big stimulus excitement today? Well, the president will have a press conference, and that press conference will detail what's happening with the actual rollout. The president will sign into law on Friday, and stimulus checks will go out shortly thereafter. The children's checks of $3,600 and $3,000, those will start in the month of July. Hazard pay thereafter. Rental assistance is very good in this bill as well. How much rental assistance? Here are the numbers for you, and they're excitingly great. $27 billion for housing. For people who are low income, middle class, or homeless, will have the ability to get rent assistance if they are directly or indirectly impacted by the pandemic. And then the surprise. Not only is there assistance for homeowners with mortgages, but now there's also assistance for utility bills and other housing costs. Support for restaurants exists as well. That support for restaurants starts with an EIDL grant, but the timing of the EIDL grant is really critical. And I'll have more about those details about the EIDL grant and the other assistance in the third stimulus package coming up shortly. But first, here's a little bit about the community page and today's programming lineup. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a great day as your third stimulus check of $1,400 has finished and is off to the president to sign on Friday. The incredible great news across the land is heating up. Also heating up is the importance of information. And it's in days like this that despite how many times something's reported, there's still confusion. During the commercial break, one of the viewers said, I can't request my unpaid first and second stimulus checks because I'm on SSI. I'm not allowed to file a tax return. That's actually untrue. The rule is that if you make less than a certain amount of income, you don't have to file a tax return. Not being required to file a tax return is not the same as being prohibited from filing a tax return. In fact, if you are missing a first or second stimulus check, you absolutely need to file a tax return to request those missing stimulus checks. Again, filing a tax return is voluntary and is not prohibited if you're under the income level. That was a great question for that viewer. The excitement is brewing across the land as the stimulus packages that have been wondered and talked about for so long came to fruition in a total bill. But is there something separate from this bill? There is. Currently in the Senate, there is a $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness bill. That is separate from this. Also currently in the Senate is a wealth tax bill that would pay for SSI and SSDI. That is also separate. Now, along with those two items being separate, that's caused some confusion, which I want to clarify as well right now. In this bill, the third stimulus check bill, there's an incredible provision that provides the following. If the $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness bill in the Senate is passed sometime later this year, you will not have to pay taxes on the forgiveness of the debt. How does this work? No, without that provision, which is now becoming law in the third stimulus, if the Senate bill eventually does pass later this year, you would normally have to pay upwards of $24,000 in taxes at a 24% tax bracket if the federal government forgave $50,000 of student loan debt. But because the third stimulus package bill has that provision in there that if the Senate in the future passes that bill, you won't have to pay taxes on the forgiveness of the debt. That's sort of a convoluted thing that is very important to understand. The next thing that's a little bit convoluted for some viewers to understand is this $10,200 tax-free element of unemployment. Under the third stimulus package, your UI, PUA, FPUC, and PEUC are extended from March to September. That's easy to understand. FPUC will be $300 a week. That's also easy to understand. But what happens to this $10,200? The bill provides an incredible benefit that your first $10,200 that you made on unemployment in the year 2020, last year, is tax-free. So if you filed a tax return and you paid taxes on that unemployment that you received in 2020, you're going to need to go back to your tax preparer and see if you have to do an amended tax return. The most common confused question I've gotten from viewers is, can I call someone else up and just get the check in the mail back to me? No, you have to fix it through a tax return. I know it's a little confusing. But less confusing is the incredible $5,000 EIDL grant. Oh, baby, it is back. Yes. If you got an EIDL grant before, if you got an EIDL loan before, don't worry. This is another round. You can go get the moolah. $5,000 EIDL grant is available for anyone from 10 employees or less with a 50% reduction of your earned income during the pandemic. The EIDL grant is singularly the most important, obvious reason to become a subscriber to this channel. Because the EIDL grant will open and will run out of money in about 3 days. You need to stay with me with 6 hours of live programming a day, because the moment it happens, I will be on air live saying it went live, stop everything you do, go apply. Because if you miss it, you're going to miss $5,000. Remember, it's free to subscribe, but missing $5,000 of a grant of free money is too costly an item to miss. Additionally, restaurants can get grants as well. That will be calculated on your 2020 revenue subtracted from your 2019 revenue. That money is absolutely necessary and really beneficial. Why? Because it can be used for rent, for payments. It can be used for covered supplier costs, operational costs, maintenance expenses, utilities, and more. And it can even be paid used for paid sick leave. Wow. And then let's go back to the rent. The rent, utilities, and those work as the following. There is money for low-income, middle-class, and homeless rent. The provisions aren't exactly as people initially thought. They thought you had to be behind on the rent, but one of the catch-alls says you do not. For mortgage assistance, there is money not only for your privately held mortgage, but also for your homeowner's expenses as delineated in the bill. If you're a member of this channel, you have the bill, and this is what's important to understand. From the House to the Senate, only 3 provisions were changed. 1, FPUC, and that $10,200 add-on of tax credit for unemployment. 2, a phase out of the stimulus check on the high end, which is really almost a non-news story because no one even pays as much attention to it. And finally, 3, this forgiveness of the tax implications of a forgiven student loan debt if it happens in the future. It has still not happened. Those are the only 3 changes between the House bill and the Senate bill. So the great news is that if you've been a member for over a week when the bill was passed in the House the last time, you're fully up to date because the other 3 provisions are not substantially big changes. They're nominal changes. But boy, what exciting news across the land. The financial news as you start the midday, the new morning of Mornings LA with 2 hours of programming, is that the job numbers came in at 712, below the estimate of 725. That's 725,000 new jobless claims this last week. It's not particularly a good number, showing that this economy is far from rebounded. We need 8 million more people back to work. Number 2, no masks. Maryland, Texas, Mississippi, Connecticut, Arizona, West Virginia, and Wyoming have now reopened their economies and are not requiring masks. This is all quite surprising. Also happening across the land is the following. The other items happening are that numbers show that the COVID cases are relatively plateauing. And if they're relatively plateauing, then the question is, how soon could they drop? Dr. Fauci is unhappy that COVID-19 cases are plateauing at 60 to 70,000 cases currently. And if that's true, the question is, why are certain areas of this country reopening when they perhaps should not? We have all those details across the land today, as so many things are happening. But also what's happening is the President of the United States will address the country on Thursday. He'll sign the bill into law on Friday. And then away we go as we head into third stimulus land. In about 5 minutes from now, I'm back with other money. $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Money right now that's available for you to get under purple. It's important to understand that you don't want to be waiting around for money that's coming. You want to be cashing checks, not tracking checks. And then what's happening at the top of the hour? Thank you, Cheyenne, for the super chat. What's happening at the top of the hour is breaking developments about other factors which could impact your stimulus. I have all that big news at the 11 o'clock hour. Excuse me, not 11, 10 o'clock hour, which is 1 o'clock on the East Coast. If you've not hit that like button and that subscribe button, today is the day. The recap, if you're just joining me, is that your $14 stimulus check bill will be signed by the President into law on Friday. It's becoming a law on Friday, and away we go into third stimulus. There's about $5,000 that every viewer of this channel qualifies for under the third stimulus package, in addition to the $14 stimulus check. They qualify for rent, utilities, food, internet, just to start, and more. With one of the biggest viewership numbers in a live broadcast right now, these numbers are off the charts. And who's in the room? Ruby, Crystal, Mindy, Sandy, Carol. And there is Jenny. And there's Tina and Lee and Katrina. There's currently nearly 3,000 people in the room, and there's 12,000 people watching this first 15 minutes of Mornings LA. Well, guess what? I got bigger money for you coming up in just 3 minutes. I hope you join me as the big exciting news continues. As Mornings LALATE goes into its next half hour, starting right now.